Every time I drive, I come across at least 10 really bad drivers. I often wonder if they care about how bad they are or if they are just too stupid to realize how bad they drive. I imagine this guy is similar to many of those people I have come across. He's driving around with no driver's license, an indefinite suspension, and no insurance after being involved in a fatal accident, and he's acting like driving is his right, not his privilege. If it was me, I would throw him jail for life so he can't get in a car and drive anymore. But hey, people like this often don't pay the consequences that they should, and it pisses me off because my loved ones share the road with them.
You got charged with driving suspended first offense on April 18th, Kalamazoo Street and Indian Prairie Road. Driving suspended is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Carries 2 points on your record and requires your license be suspended. The Secretary of State says that you are suspended, at least as of the day they ran this, which was April 23rd. You also have a careless driving ticket.
That's why it's suspended, I guess. After I called them.
From 2023.
Yes.
You never paid the ticket, $195. So that may be why you're suspended.
Yeah, that's what she said after talking with her.
You also had some Indiana stuff. So first thing you gotta do is pay that. The other problem is you drove here today. Don't you ever watch this? So I don't know if I should just put you in jail now and save a lot of time, or allow you to drive home and have you pulled over on the way home and have your car impounded and you go to jail. So you obviously don't have a lot of respect for the system. You got a ticket, you didn't pay it, you drove with a suspended license, and then you drove here, which is, I take a personal insult. The careless was actually a crash. Speed too fast, had been drinking, had been using controlled substances. I'm not sure what that's about. I guess I could look it up, but they well, that was a different incident.
Well, that was
anyway, have you done anything to try to get your license back?
so I only found out it was suspended after, or why it was suspended. After calling her yesterday to reschedule my court. I called Indiana. He said it was from Indiana. So I called all the counties I could think of in Indiana, and they said they don't have anything.
Well, who told you this? Our court or the Secretary of State?
Indiana said they don't have anything.
Well, Michigan says you're suspended.
Okay. Then your court said yesterday it's probably suspended from that ticket I didn't pay.
That's possible. They used to suspend you for not paying tickets, which I completely agreed with, but they stopped doing it. Let's go back here. You got in a fatal accident.
I did.
Well, you didn't die, but it says here there was an accident with a fatal crash, and you got sent for a re-exam to the Driver License Appeal Division in 2023.
And I did that.
Where was the crash?
Indian Prairie Road, White Pigeon.
All right, I guess I should remember that case. How old are you?
I'm 25.
All right, Indian Prairie. This wasn't the crash where you were selling FFA stuff, was it?
No.
All right. There was a young man who was with some other kids selling advertising for an FFA program or something, and no drugs, no alcohol involved. The kid just crossed the center line and killed a man and totally devastated his family. Well, I'm not sure what to do. You're suspended.
But yeah, I want to know why as well, I guess.
Well, because you're gonna need to go to the Secretary of State.
They told me to do that reassessment or something. Or driver
Yeah, you're
evaluation.
suspended because you were in a fatal traffic accident.
But I did that assessment. That's what I don't understand. She said I'm okay to do
Driver assessment, re-examination type fatal crash, decision 7/24, decision indefinite suspension. You got indefinitely suspended by the Driver License Appeal Division last March for being involved in a fatal crash. Is that the careless case? Did you get cited? Did you get charged with anything in the
No.
fatal crash?
No,
Um,
I wasn't at fault. I don't know.
I don't know. But that's why you're suspended, and they told you were involved in an accident that killed someone.
And that's why I did the assessment. I thought I did it.
You did the assessment,
Yeah.
but they denied you anyway
Okay.
after the hearing, and I'm sure they told you that. What's this? No proof of insurance. So you're also driving around with no insurance.
I have no excuse for that. I didn't renew it on that truck.
Gee whiz.
I have it on my other vehicles. I just not that truck. There's no excuse for
Well,
it.
you don't need a vehicle because so defendant called to reset his arraignment. Said he would be paying this ticket. Yeah, they called, they told you, hey, buddy, you got an open ticket. You said you were building a house and forgot about this ticket. So we're gonna need to get that careless ticket paid.
I can do that.
But the fatal accident doesn't show up in our system. So you've got a no proof of insurance civil infraction ticket that's percolating out there. You've got an unpaid careless driving ticket from 2023. You have this charge of driving suspended. You're suspended because you were involved in a fatal accident. The Secretary of State had a hearing. You responded to the hearing, and after the hearing, they gave an indefinite suspension. And you should be aware of that.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know what, plus you drove here. So, Mr. Stickley, what's your thought?
My thought would be for today, enter a not guilty plea, set for a pretrial, see if he can get some further answers, maybe take care of a citation if it's still hanging out there. We discussed the matter while Your Honor was waiting in the hallway about driving. He'll get a ride. He won't drive.
Well, you can drive home, but you won't make it all the way home. You'll be arrested and your car will be impounded.
Yeah, I don't think that's an option that he cares to
Yes,
exercise. Your Honor.
but I'm offended by the fact that he's so cavalier about this.
Yes, Your Honor. He was honest about it, though.
Yes, he will. By that point, he was had. All right, we'll set a pretrial. Defendant to check on status. You need to go to the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
You have an unpaid careless. Which is 2302000. You have an unpaid, no proof of insurance. from this. So you're driving around, well, you can't get insurance because you don't have a license. So you can't get insurance because your license is suspended. So the bottom line is you need to just stop driving. Where do you work?
I own a concrete company.
Do you have guys on your crew that can drive you around?
Yes.
All right, well, let's set this out about a month. I suspect that you've been driving all along and you don't want to do it again.
I was till I got pulled over. I honestly didn't know it was suspended. Yeah.
Well, I don't believe you. They go through a whole hearing. I don't believe the Secretary of State didn't inform you that you were suspended.
They did, and they gave me a paper. So I went and made an appointment, went up there and talked with her. And she drove around with me. Talked with me.
Okay, so you had a review and then after that, they still suspended you.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but anyway, you need to go to the Secretary of State, find out what you need to do. It's an odd circumstance that you were in a fatal accident. You didn't get a ticket, but the Secretary of State, the officer involved, would have referred you for a review. They gave you one. Apparently you did the driving and then they declined to give you your license back. So let's set this pretrial for a Thursday. June 12th. At 8:30.
They should. I pay all those tickets today.
Well, you don't have to pay him today, but it will help. What Mr. Stickley's gonna do is try to get the prosecutor to give you some consideration. I don't, as judge, I don't have the authority to alter the charge, but it would help your cause if all your unpaid tickets were paid off.
I can do that.
And if you'd like to go to jail, drive to court that day and I can make arrangements for you to spend some time at our jail. Stop driving
Yes, sir.
till you get yourself squared away with the Secretary of State. All right, you're gonna need to wait to have somebody come get you and your car. All right, you're good to go.